Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count all my kills and all my deaths. Today, I'm playing Spider-Man, the city that never sleeps. Released as 3 individual episodes, spaced about a month apart after the release of the full game in 2018. We follow Spider-Man as he deals with an old fling and the Maggia crime family while they seize power in the absence of Kingpin and Mr. Negative. In the main game, the webhead KO'd more than the entire population of Crested Butte, Colorado. How many more bad guys will he cripple on his way to making New York crime-free?
Why do you smell like pizza?
Because I just ate pizza?
I maintain amazing difficulty and switch over to episode 1, The Heist, where Laura Bailey's Mary Jane Watson narrates saying the once prominent Maggia crime families are mounting a comeback, but eventually one of the Dons will make a move on the other families in order to take full control. She calls up her spider guy to tell him a source claims the Maggia appreciate art so much that they're planning on breaking into a local art gallery that contains one of their most prized paintings called the Maria. I swing over there as John Pisano's incredible soundtrack plays. His efforts helped elevate these games to another level as he details his desire to make the ordinary gameplay music just as good as the cinematic music. He really nailed it in that aspect and gave these Spider-Man games a signature sound. I quietly take down the 9 goons patrolling the area and attempting to break into the art gallery. We learn they work for Hammerhead, one of the Dons of the Maggia families, and intend to steal back the Maria as they claim it's the key to taking full control of the families. Up on the rooftop we find a hole cut into the skylight, and inside the security guard's taking a well-deserved nap at work. We rush over to the Maria and remark on how unimpressive it is, making both Pete and MJ ponder over its importance until the Maggia lose all patience and simply drive directly into the gallery, locking the painting behind some glass. Aghast at their crude methods and putting these beautiful art pieces at risk, I show them the art of acrobatic ass beating while destroying the pieces I hate. After they're all taken care of, I check on the painting to confirm their presence wasn't a distraction, and as soon as I turn my back, Spider-Man's ex-lover Black Cat, also known as Felicia Hardy, drops in, played by Erica Lindbeck, who has a lengthy list of acting credits in video games, notably replacing her Spider-Man co-star Laura Bailey as both Blaze the Cat and Omochao in Sonic the Hedgehog. Felicia gets a little flirty with Peter until she points out more Maggia are coming in. Spidey web glazes his face, causing him to shoot a rocket upwards into the art piece above them, trapping those 2 failures beneath it while 20 more goons rush in, itching to get smacked around by their favorite neighborhood superhero. We then turn our attention back to Felicia to watch her break Maria over her knee and show off a data drive hidden inside. But before we can find out more about that, the 2 goons trapped under their own wreckage need to be saved from their own destruction. While I wait for leads from MJ, I get a call from Detective Maggia, who asks a favor of Spider-Man. He's retiring soon and wants to try and close his old cases before he does. I meet him at a nearby precinct where he requests I locate the old art pieces stolen 20 years ago by the now deceased original Black Cat Walter Hardy. Once I locate the final piece, I inform Maggia he can close his case, but then he tells me to look after the new Black Cat for him and hangs up. That shit is hella sus, so we swing back to the precinct only to learn Detective Maggia doesn't exist and that Walter Hardy played Spider-Man for a fool. Like daughter, like father? MJ calls to inform him of a shootout in Maggia territory, and when I swing over they introduce the most annoying goddamn enemy in this expansion. This big boned son of a gun shoots me dead, but when I reload I succeed in knocking him and all the other thugs senseless. Except for one guy, who tries to sneak away and instead gets intimidated into talking. Alright, I give up. Upon making this man poo himself, we learn that they met Black Cat at a nearby bodega and ask them to cause a ruckus a few blocks away as a distraction. We rush over to the bodega where Black Cat distracts Spider-Man with a reminder of old times, before hurrying away with another Maggia family data drive. They think of Spidey as working with her and attack, giving themselves brain damage in the process, but somehow Spider-Man came away with some brain damage of his own when he links up with Felicia and believes her story about Hammerhead holding her son for ransom until she steals the data drives from the rest of the families.
Felicia has a son? Can't be. I mean, it could be, and I could be. No, I'm not gonna think about that right now.
Before we continue, we get a call from the main game's worst side villain, Screwball, an annoying ass villain obsessed with views that forces Spider-Man into equally annoying scenarios with her fans that get the same treatment as the Maggia. Luckily, we only have to deal with her once, and the rest is side content that I refuse to touch because I'm too busy crushing thug heads while I follow Felicia's trail. Eventually, MJ calls to remind you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, before providing a location for the next data drive, and believes that the Maggia set up a joint accounting database that requires all 5 drives to access in order to keep the peace, which failed spectacularly as Hammerhead aims to obtain all 5 drives and inherit their entire fortune. Always seeming to be one step behind, we arrive at the location right as Felicia is leaving.
Guess I gotta play harder to get.
The only thing harder to get here is Spider-Man continuing to assist this manipulator, but that's exactly what he does when he offers his help, before grabbing a double pepperoni pie.
I love you. But now, I must destroy you.
While he smashes that pizza, we cut to MJ, who is back as a playable character, stealthing her way through a Hammerhead compound and adding a few thugs of her own to the count. She's able to uncover a shipping manifest that will help find the vault Hammerhead is keeping Felicia's supposed son in. While we wait for MJ to decrypt that data, we assist Felicia in beating some Maggia booty, and then we meet up again at the shipping yard and formulate a plan to take out Hammerhead's guys and break into the vaults. In the first wave, I take out 10 of his goons and Black Cat takes out 9, clearly making me superior, which is why she runs off to check the building and I'm left to take on more men that are now armed with stolen Sable tech. Once they're all webbed up, we open the vault to find Felicia has played us like a fiddle, stealing Hammerhead's drive and now having access to the entire wealth of the Maggia. After learning there's a tracker on that drive and Felicia has an explosive surprise waiting at her penthouse, I race over there just in time to watch it go bing bang boom. It pans over to Hammerhead so we can get a look at his big ass forehead for the first time. Episode 1 ends there, but in true Marvel fashion, we have a post-credit scene with a somewhat morose Peter Parker trying to come to terms with Felicia's death, and the fact that she never had a son. MJ reassures him that he'll be a great dad someday, and we move into episode 2. I switch to Turf Wars, where Yuri Watanabe narrates, stating Felicia is presumed dead, while Hammerhead uses the stolen Sable tech to wage war against the other Dons of the Maggia. They have him pinned down inside an abandoned sanitarium in Harlem, creating the perfect scenario for the police and Spider-Man to sneak in and arrest him. Spidey knows what time it is, but to make sure the officers are in the same mindset, he asks for the time. While Yuri leads a force inside to grab Hammerhead, Spider-Man stays outside to distract the warring criminals, adding 51 total guys across Hammerhead's goons and the Maggia. We crawl into the building, but something seems very off as Yuri stops answering Spidey's calls, so in the meantime, we make this a horror movie for the 9 goons inside as one by one they begin to disappear. We locate a security system that reveals Hammerhead captured her strike force and rambles on about respect in the good old days, prior to using his big ass head as a deadly weapon. Before he's able to treat the next guy like a nail, Yuri snatches the gun from one of his thugs and evens the odds. Things come to a stalemate until Spider-Man comes in to help, and the scene erupts in chaos with more goons entering at the same time. Like that scene out of the Batman, the lights go out with muzzle flashes briefly illuminating the room until everyone except Yuri and Spidey have either escaped or died. This event traumatizes Yuri and sets in motion her path of revenge against the freakishly lame mob boss. While she calls the families of her men, I swing over to the bar with no name, a place for villains to relax and hang out without fear of heroes whooping that ass. So instead, we send a small spider bot inside to drop eaves, and discover the other Dons are scared of Hammerhead and hiding at the Auerbach Theater. I protect a witness being guarded by a police escort, before arriving to find the Dons are being attacked by Hammerhead's goons using some new Sable tech that allows for subterranean surprise attacks, netting another 40 knockouts. But while I was filling up the local ER with criminals, they burrowed directly into the building and kidnapped the Dons. This failure gets Yuri heated and back on the case by spreading the remaining Sable tech out to try and thin out Hammerhead's gang, allowing me to crack even more heads. However, by forcing me to swing around the city chasing his guys, Hammerhead focuses on Yuri's precinct, injuring and killing dozens of cops while stealing more Sable tech labeled Project Olympus. Feeling confident in my ability to take down anything Olympian, I add a few more KOs to the count while Yuri makes the bar with no name a graveyard. Spidey answers a ringing phone to find out Hammerhead has big plans that night, so we do some good old-fashioned stalking to figure out where it'll take place. Eventually, I discover they're occupying a nearby construction site and make sure these 14 goons will never arrive. I swing over to find Hammerhead recently signed a new deal with Kick and is streaming the Dons being slowly encased by concrete. This sequence nets me 40 more KOs to get my count over 401 deaths before I web up the cement truck and save some criminals before facing an even worse criminal. His worst crime is continuing to blabber on about respect in the Maggia's glory days. No one fucking cares, dude. I still won't respect him despite adding a third death here. I beat up on 20 of his goons during the fight and eventually end this nonsense, but I can't add this KO to the count because Yuri enters like an unhinged lunatic, binding Spidey and getting a shot to Hammerhead's dome before Spider-Man is able to break free and pull the firearm away. Yuri gives him a spiteful look before the cliffhanger, and we cut to the post-credit scene showing a dead Hammerhead being resuscitated by one of his loyal douchebags. I switch to Silver Linings, where MJ explains Yuri's actions causes the police department to put her on administrative leave. Without police contact, our leads are as dried up as SpongeBob and Sandy's tree dome, so we're clueless where Hammerhead is while his men continue to steal Sable tech, with Project Olympus being the main target. MJ's research shows the project is a joint effort between Sable and Oscorp to transform average Joes into super soldiers. It's supposed to be shipped out to Silver Sable's war-torn homeland of Symkaria, but keeps getting stolen before it can, so idiots like this can smack cars out of the way despite their own comrades using it as cover. Spidey treats each goon like that Honda, but one takes off his jetpack to give this cop an aerial tour of New York. More of Hammerhead's guys wait for me on the roof to pad my stats a little bit more. The goon threatens to end the tour early if Spidey attempts to join without paying, but then Silver Sable flies up on the other side of him, which makes him drop the cop. Spidey saves him and pins the goon to a smokestack and turns his attention to Sable. She returns to New York to take back her equipment and demands to know where Hammerhead is, going so far as to go toe-to-toe with the webhead. Once the goon is able to free himself from the webbing, he flies off into the sunset with Sable following and leaving me behind to take another call from the world's worst fucking villain. I'm forced to take part in one of her games, but no KOs are involved, unlike Hammerhead's gang when I bully them alongside Sable, who is so laser focused on getting her gear back that she endangers the lives of ordinary citizens. Real talk, who would want to live in this version of New York? You could get rocked by fucking anything here, at any time. After convincing Sable, they'd find Hammerhead by working together. She confuses Spidey by shaking his hand and sneakily putting a tracker on his weenus. With MJ's help, I stalk more of Hammerhead's guys to get my KO total into the 500s, until I locate a guy named Tony, who claims H-Head wants to sit down with Silver Sable, and luckily for him, she materializes out of thin air and demands the Addy. Spidey warns her it'll be an ambush, and look, he was right. Her jet gets locked in place by her own technology, forcing the webhead to take it down and team up with her against the rooftop goons. Hammerhead waits until every single one of his men is KO'd before he reveals himself as a fucking cyborg. Dude literally forewent his ham candle just so he could look like a Bionicle. Despite his sneak attack, he can't successfully subdue Spider-Man and gets distracted by an impatient Sable, but being an ordinary human being, she doesn't last long and gets snatched up. He looks like he's about ready to bunk their heads together until another surprise pops up, with Black Cat able to free Spidey from his grasp, which allows H-Head to leave with Sable. Before departing, Felicia provides a data drive and hints that Hammerhead's big-ass head isn't as strong as we think it is, but she doesn't elaborate in her usual cryptic way. MJ calls to inform Peter the Daily Bugle is sending her to Symkaria to cover the Civil War going on there, which will lead us into Miles Morales when I cover that game next, so subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know right when it drops. I find an underground lair housing the stolen tech and Silver Sable being tortured by some goons, who are trapped down here with us. Feeling good after kicking some booty with our favorite angry Eastern European, we try to high-five her, but she is so focused on getting her equipment back she leaves us hanging. Until she doesn't. Using Felicia's hint, we find out Hammerhead has a metal plate that is sensitive to heat, so Sable heads out to formulate a plan while we swing around the city doing a side mission that explains what Yuri has been up to since her suspension. We locate 9 audio recordings detailing a failed operation that got another one of Yuri's men killed when they tried to infiltrate the Maggia. Using her newfound sense of justice, she killed the mobster in cold blood and left him for Spider-Man to find. Yuri is played by Tara Platt, perhaps most well known for her role as Tamari in Naruto. She leaves her duties behind as a police officer and turns into a vigilante known as the Wraith. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of her in Spider-Man 2. With that done, we head into the finale alongside Silver Sable, who has Spidey assist her in fitting her jet with a laser designed to combat the cyborg mob boss. Right as we're wrapping up, H-Head arrives so we can shoot freaking laser beams at his head, while adding another 8 of his goons to the KO count.
Still no respect.
Oh my god, shut up! The laser goes down, so Sable improvises by flying her jet directly into him. But in a brief Terminator moment, he walks out of the fire, making us believe he's ready to fight some more, and instead breaks down for KO number 549. Spidey asks Sable if she wants to smash a pizza together, but she's a woman on a mission ready to head back to Symkaria armed with the best weapon of all time.
Like how to disarm my enemies with bad jokes?
Now that New York is safe, we watch as Pete gets Miles ready for training, and while he falls into his new role well as Spider-Man, we fall into the final numbers. I finished The City That Never Sleeps with 549 knockouts, 33% of the total from the main game, and that brings Spider-Man's final KO count to 2,197. This expansion focused on Hammerhead and his gang, so they made up 82% of the enemies fought. I matched my final death total from the main game, which brings my kill-death ratio to a respectable 183. I finished the DLC in 5 hours and 54 minutes, which gives us a KO on average every 38 seconds and a death every 1 hour and 58 minutes. That concludes the first Spider-Man game. I found Hammerhead to be a weak villain and really hope we don't see him again, since the ending wasn't entirely conclusive on whether or not he's dead. Next up, I'll be playing Miles Morales to see how his KO count stacks up against the OG Spider-Man. Thanks as always for watching. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.